Iron Flame has about 273,021 words. I am empty now. Just didn't care. I'm loving this book so far. Maybe I'm just toxic. Throws a two-headed snake into her carriage and she gets poisoned. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chia and today we're going to be doing a weekly reading vlog. I haven't done one of these in a while, ever since I did my reading Christmas book reading vlog. I thought it would be great to start off the new year with a reading vlog. I think this is the potential TBR. I'm currently doing my reread of Iron Flame. We are currently a week out from Onyx Storm and I'm reading this right now so that I am coming into Onyx Storm fresh and ready, and I want to see what I think about it this time. But I started reading and I'm maybe 100 pages in and I'm viscerally remembering how much a lot of these characters angered me in this book. So we shall see. Hopefully I won't get as torn up about their actions as much as I was the first time, and I'm really hoping that their communication between Xaden and Violet has improved in Onyx Storm, because if I get more communications like this in the next book, let's just say I'm not gonna be happy. But yeah, this is my spree edges one, but yeah, I'm going to be rereading this and see my actual thoughts if they differ from when I read it a year and a half ago. But I'm so excited for Onyx Storm. And the next book that I'll be reading is Heavenly Bodies by Amani Eriyu. I hope that I'm pronouncing it right. But this book has been raved about by Ravenhair Reader and Emmy Rossum. And of course I take my biggest recommendations from those two creators and they absolutely both love this book. And I have the Waterstone edition, so I'm going to be reading this in this weekly vlog and I'm hoping I love it as much as they do. But come along and let's see my opinions. But I'll be starting off with Iron Flame. So I'm about 58% through Iron Flame and I'm actually liking this reread more than I did from when I first read the book. And the text is so small. I don't know, like, I think there's somebody out there who counted how much text there was in this book, because I think it's a few 100,000 more than there were. Let's see. Let's actually see. Yeah. It says Iron Flame has about 273,021 words, whereas Fourth Wing was 83,925 words. That's a lot of a difference between two books. And this one, I feel like it's when I first read it, that it was a bunch of information dumping, and also the miscommunication between the two main characters was driving me nuts, because I guess without saying too, in case you haven't read Iron Flame yet, this one it kind of like separates the two a little bit, because of course if you read Fourth Wing, you know that they are a few years apart with their schooling. There's a bunch of stuff that are separated between them and they are miscommunicating with each other, and it bothers me because they're both fighting for things that are easily able to be, I don't know, I guess resolved in their case. But I think they're just not wanting to meet each other halfway, especially Violet. But when I'm rereading it now, Violet just seems her whole entire world has basically been pulled out from under her. She is a person who likes information, and the fact that she doesn't know all the information anymore. She used to be a scribe, and a scribe knows all the information that there is to know about their world, and they're the ones who are the record keepers. And she wanted to be that so badly, but she ended up becoming a writer, obviously, because her mom made her. And because of the fact that everything that she ever thought she knew that was taught to her since she was born is not what was necessarily accurate, and all of that was completely exploited upon her, it's understandable why she's very on rocky ground when it comes to her personality. A lot of people found her annoying in this book because of how she kind of backtracked on her character development in Fourth Wing, but I think it's completely understandable because she's a person who wants complete information and then she is not getting it, and everything that she ever knew is wrong. And unfortunately, there are some people that she trusted that kind of like withheld that information from her. But I do understand the reason why those people withheld the information from her, because it's not only her life on the line, but the rest of their country's life on the line. So I'm loving this book a lot more than I did in the reread, because I'm understanding people's motivations even more. But it doesn't mean I don't get frustrated with some of their dialogue. And knowing overall how it ends just makes me hurt even more. I'm so happy that I'm almost done with it, because it is taking a little bit longer than usual, because I reread Fourth Wing like a week ago and then I ran straight to Iron Flame, and I felt like Fourth Wing took me about 2 to 3 days to finish because it was like super short. But this one is taking a little bit longer, but I will finish in time for Onyx Storm. But in the meantime, while I'm taking a break from that, I am also reading Heavenly Bodies. Heavenly Bodies by Amani Ariu, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, is about this girl named Alara, and she comes from the Kingdom of Shadows, and she has shadow magic, she can dream walk, and she can also, what is her third power? Because she's supposedly really strong from her own kingdom because she is the princess of the kingdom, and unfortunately she watches all of the people that she loves get killed in front of her. So she ends up getting kidnapped by the Hylians. Hylians are the ones who are the light kingdom, so all of their people possess some sort of light magic, and she possesses dark shadow magic. Oh, and she can also do, what is her third magic? Yeah, she comes from a place called Asteria, and she got kidnapped to be taken to Helion, and her three powers are Shadowmancers, Illusionist. Oh, she can create illusions with her shadows. There you go. She was kidnapped by the opposing kingdom, which are supposedly their enemies because of the different things that they did to destruct each other's kingdoms, and she is kidnapped to help them out, and she is being chased by one of these stars, and the stars are the gods of their kingdom, threatened to be killed by this particular star. I'm not too sure who he is yet. In order to find protection, the king basically forces her to train with his son, Prince Lorenzo, because she needs to find a way to get her magic stronger in order to defeat the star, and that is their most common enemy. It is incredibly beautifully written. It is very descriptive. She describes the market really well, the food, whenever she is given food to eat, she describes it really well, and I like it because of the fact that she describes scenes in the way that you can fully imagine it in your head. I don't know, it just clicks in my head on how she's describing things in this book. So I'm about maybe 120 pages through. I am reading this in between Iron Flame because I do want to start this, and I'm liking it so far. It's sort of like a strong enemies to lovers kind of situation because they're both opposing kingdoms and they're both heirs to the kingdom, and I think she's technically a queen now because her family passed away and basically all the people who are heirs to the throne are dead, and she's the only one left. I am excited so far to read this. It's very captivating, and I really like the writing and the world so far, and I love the mixture of the juxtaposition of her shadow dark magic while he has full-on fire and light magic, and they're arguing back and forth with each other like trainer and trainee does, but she has misconceptions about him because of how forces from his kingdom came to her kingdom and attacked her and her family and her people, and vice versa. So they have strong misconceptions about each other that I already know that it's going to be proven as false, so I can't wait to get to that part. I'm okay in the love story so far. I'm not really feeling too strongly for them. I'm just loving the world and their interactions together, but I'll continue to read this and update once I'm finished with Iron Flame. I should be finished within the next day or two, so hopefully I can get this done as soon as possible so that I can move on to Heavenly Bodies and fully immerse that. And I think I know which third book that I want to read next. I want to read Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields. I know that Bailey Reads from TikTok raved about this book, and I saw her Goodreads review about it. I'm hoping I can pick it up. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, and apparently it's sort of fairies as in the type that show up in Cruel Prince, rather than the fairies that show up, the fays that show up in Akatar and Throne of Glass and everything like that. So I can't wait to see what that is, but I'll be back with and I ended up finishing Iron Flame, And you guys, I ended up loving this way more than I did the first time I read it. The first time I read it, I ended up giving it a 4 stars, but I ended up taking it up to a 5 stars. There were so much things that I missed the first time that I read this because I think I was just annoyed at the fact that Xaden and Violet couldn't get their crap together, and they were absolutely wrong for fighting with each other the whole time. But once I started understanding more where Violet was coming from, I honestly think that it was necessary for them to be able to communicate this way and learn the things that they need from each other and from the world. He understood her better than anyone else who understood her, and the fact that we got a lot of lore to expand the world even more, I absolutely loved. The first time I read it, it did feel like it was a bit of an information dump, but I think it was necessary. I absolutely love this book a lot more, and there's so many painful scenes in this book between the two characters, but it shows the amount of love they have for each other. And that ending, I finished this book at like 2 a.m. in the morning and ended up sobbing because I knew it was coming. The last 2 chapters, I literally had tears on my face because I knew what was coming, and I knew I had nothing to do but sit there and wait for it to happen, and then it happened, and I am empty now. I'm so ready for Onyx Storm to come out. I am so ready to see what it will add to the story as a whole right now, since we are about halfway through the series now. But it's probably gonna be the most climactic plot point because it is the middle book. We have 2 more books, and then after Onyx Storm, and who knows when we're gonna get those 2 books, but I'm so excited to continue on with the series, and I absolutely loved it. And also love Proclamation in the book. If you know, you know. So good, so freaking good. And I tabbed the hell out of this thing. I started tabbing maybe halfway through. I'm not usually an annotator or anything like that, but the moment I started reading lines from this book, I started tabbing it, and after that I'm kind of hooked now, to be honest. This might inspire me to annotate and tab even more books just to remember, and I honestly think that it helps me retain the book a lot more because of all the different information that you get from it, being able to reference it also. But so yes, I am done with this book, and now I am I'm about maybe 40% of the way through Heavenly Bodies. I don't know if I'm really feeling it because the 2 characters, once they met each other because of the fact that she went to his kingdom to basically gain asylum, and the moment the love story kind of when they start flirting with each other, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it with these 2. I don't know if it's just because that I'm in the middle of my obsession with Fourth Wing and Iron Flame again, so I'm not getting the same feeling. I love the writing. The writing is absolutely beautiful. There is descriptions of food and sights and scenes in here and smells that you get taken straight into the story because the author knows how to describe it, and she's very descriptive, so it's not like you're confused about what's going on. It's just that I'm trying to connect to the characters, and it's just hard right now, and right now it's just a bunch of like kind of, I don't know, cheesy lines being spewed back and forth because they are going back and forth in each other because apparently their kingdoms are enemies. So the Hylian kingdom has committed harsh acts against her family, and the Asterian kingdom, which is where she's from, which is the kingdom of darkness basically and shadows, committed crimes against his kingdom. So they're enemies in that sense, and they don't necessarily want to work with each other because she's just being used by the Hylian kingdom. Of course, they start slowly falling in love with each other and start slowly getting to know each other. I'm just not connecting to it, and maybe it'll change later on in the story, but right now I'm just not feeling it. So I will come up with an update, and I'm hoping my feelings change a bit once I am a little bit more halfway through the book, but we shall see. with another update. I ended up finishing Heavenly Bodies last night, and okay, I gave it a 3.75. I thought it dragged a lot in the middle. The pacing has some issues in it. The middle bit, when you start getting to the expansion of the world and the explanation of the actual plot of what they really want to do and all the plot twists, it just becomes so, I don't know, convoluted, because there's so many things that are thrown at you and you just don't know where it's coming from. And also, like I said before in my other update, I just didn't feel any connection to the two characters, and unfortunately it just continued to be that way. And it just got so cheesy. I had to roll my eyes a couple of times because it was just so cheesy. It's like, just imagine every single line that you've ever heard of in a movie where it's like super cheesy, and then you put it into this book. That's what this is. I am so confused because I love the world so much. The writing is amazing and I love how descriptive she was, but the plot points was just not clear. There was no clear to how things are connected, and there are points where the stars are introduced slowly to each of the characters, or they appear on page, but then it's so confusing because they have different abilities for each, and each of them either have similar abilities or different abilities. I couldn't keep track of all the things that were going on with these gods, and I wish I loved it more. I am gonna continue on with the series. I think the second book is supposed to come out in November of this year. I think it's called Fallen Stars, because there is potential. I know there is, and I'm so sad because two of my favorite creators absolutely rave about this book and gave it 5 stars. That's why I was so excited to get it. I knew that the officially traditional published one was not going to come out till January in the US, so I ended up ordering my copy from Waterstone back in November, and I was kind of waiting to read it until after I was done with all my end of the year things. And so I was looking forward to this, and I thought this would be the perfect time to pick it up. Yeah, I was just really disappointed. I don't know where the plot went, and then like the last 100 pages, it just started throwing out a bunch of plot twists left and right that kind of like didn't connect at all to each other. There's just trope after trope in this book that I just couldn't get on board on, because I don't want a book filled with tropes. I need good connection and fleshed out characters to the point where I can't wait for them to get together. When they finally started having like romantic feelings towards each other and started having like proclamations and everything like that, I just didn't care. I didn't care if anything happened to them, and I wish the side characters were fleshed out a bit more too, because there are relationship and friendships that they have with other side characters that just happen instantly for some reason, and you get told that they get close with each other and are told the events that make them close to each other, but not necessarily to the point of seeing what happens and why they trust these side characters so much. That was my biggest qualm with it, that I just didn't connect with the characters, and I wish I did, because the world is so beautiful. But we shall see if the second book improves on a bunch of things that I have critiques for. And there were some sentences that I just couldn't understand. They were thrown in randomly, and also some of the love scenes that the characters had were also thrown randomly into. Nothing bothers me more than when big plot points are revealed to the characters, and then the next scene there's a love scene. Like, don't even get me started, because I don't want to get any plot points away. I don't want to give any spoilers away. So yeah, I gave this a 3.75. I will be continuing on with the series, and then hopefully the second one will be better, and that will determine whether or not I finish the whole entire trilogy. I'm really hoping that it improves, and I'm so sad that I didn't like it, because I was really looking forward to this too. And the last book that I'm going to be reading in this reading vlog is Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields. I am loving this book so far. It's a standalone. There's no worry about having to finish a series with this. It's a fantasy romance. The female main character is named Mildred. Mildred is the princess of the human kingdom, and she's a halfling. She's a half fairy, half human, and she gets shunned by her human half, and she gets shunned by her fairy half because she is a halfling. Unfortunately, they both kind of don't like her on either side, and she's had to grow up her whole entire life being shunned by people. So I guess that kind of makes her character strong, but the thing that makes her strong is that she's learned how to shut down any emotion whatsoever. There's a war going on between the Seelie and the Unseelie fairy court. So the Seelie tried to get help from the human world by asking the human king to help lend out his troops and his soldiers to help fight with the Seelie kingdom. They acquired the help of the human kingdom, but in return, Mildred is betrothed to the prince of the Seelie Kingdom. And of course, when they meet each other when they're kids, they hate each other. They are true enemies to lovers. And I love their dynamics so much. I love when they interact with each other, and it's very cruel how they are with each other. And she is betrothed to him, and he keeps threatening her, telling her that there's nothing that will be happy for her in the Seelie Kingdom, that she will just be his toy and nothing else. And so she starts learning how to play his game, to the point where he is her enemy, true enemies to lovers, because of the fact that he throws a two-headed snake into her carriage and she gets poisoned. And she gets bit on her ankle and has a scar there from the snake bite. Is confined to her bed for a week because she has a fever from the poisoning. So eventually we're at this point where she moves to the Seelie Kingdom to get married and everything. She has sort of like a tumultuous relationship with the Seelie prince. The prince of the Seelie Kingdom is named Prince Atakin, and he doesn't like her whatsoever. He takes every single moment that they are forced together to tell her how much he despises her, and so they start playing games back and forth, and that's what starts making her intriguing to him, that she knows how to play his games, and it surprises him. So I love their chemistry together. Maybe I'm just toxic. Maybe I just like toxic interactions between two characters, because how they're very hateful towards each other, and the fact that he poisoned her when they were younger makes me love their chemistry even more. And there's sort of another male main character too, who's sort of another love interest, but not really. You'd have to read it yourself to understand. But the fact that this is a standalone, and I love the world so much, it's very similar to the world of Cruel Prince, where it's a lot more cruel fairy rather than like nice magical whimsical fairy. I think I like the lore of evil fairies a lot more than I do where it's like the nice welcoming pretty fairies that we're all used to. I like that kind of world better. So I loved it. 4.5 stars. It was filled with so much banter, the tension, the taunting between the two main characters. The side characters were okay. The strength of this book was the female main character and the male main character. I loved them together. I think they were absolutely perfect for one another. I just love seeing the ending part of a book when everything is wrapped up, but not necessarily like, oh yeah, everything's perfect, it's the perfect 100% everyone change happy ending. It's we love each other for who we are and would not change it for the world, and that's the reason why they were just great for each other. And there was a bunch of twists and turns in this book for a standalone. We get to see different parts of the Seelie and some of the Unseelie Kingdom as well. And the reason why it's called Amid Clouds and Bones is the Seelie Kingdom is more of a kingdom where it's more like clouds and light and everything. And I guess when you visit the Unseelie Kingdom, it's made with a bunch of bones, and that was just weird when it was being described like that. It's murky, it's cold. I couldn't put it down, and I couldn't stop thinking about it all weekend. There's just so much to say about this book, and I highly recommend for you guys to pick it up if you're looking for a fantasy romance as standalone with really easy characters to understand, really great plot, and also a true enemies to lovers. I've been kind of sick of like a little bit of some of the books that are kind of advertising themselves to be enemies to lovers when they're really not enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers are, I hate you, I'm going to ruin you or kill you and do everything in my power because I hate you and I don't know who you are yet. And that's kind of true and what enemies are. But in some other books where there are true enemies to lovers, they're instantly attracted to each other, and I'm so not for that. I want the tension and give me back the slow burn, and this book gave me all of it. I gave it a 4.5 stars because I loved how amazing everything was with the characters and the worlds and how everything concluded, but it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling. But it is one of the books I would highly recommend, and also I would love to reread again because of how easy the writing is. And I'm hoping to read more of Ella Field's work because from the first page, from the first sentence, I was hooked. And I love their nicknames for each other. He calls her Dread, short for like Mildred, but there's other things that she does that gives her that nickname. She calls him Monster because like he acts like a monster to her when he was threatening her and everything before she moved to the kingdom and everything. And I don't know, I loved it so much. And it is spicy. There is a few spicy scenes towards maybe the middle end of the book. The spicy scenes didn't last too long, and it didn't take away from the main story, and you still felt like the desire from the characters. I just loved it. So pick it up. This book was such an amazing palate cleanser because I read it after the emotional roller coaster of Iron Flame and also the disappointment that was Heavenly Bodies. So absolutely, if you're looking for a palate cleanser fantasy romance that's a standalone that you don't have to get too invested to like a full-on series, highly recommend McCloud's Bones. One of my best reads so far of January and of 2025. But I just wanted to come here and conclude this video, and thank you all for watching because I've had so much fun doing this reading vlog this week. And it's currently Monday, which means Onyx Storm is coming out tonight, and I'm trying to get this up by Wednesday so that I can spend the next like few days just reading Onyx Storm. There will be a reading vlog coming for Onyx Storm. I'll be doing a non-spoiler and spoiler one just so that I know that people don't read as fast as some other people like I do. I read really fast, so I want to give opportunity to those people who want to see the reviews first without any spoilers first before picking up Onyx Storm, and then I'll be posting a spoiler vlog afterwards. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Thank you for continuously joining and supporting my channel. It means the world to me, and keep liking and subscribing and leave in the comments below if you read any of the books that I did, or if you're doing a Fourth Wing or Iron Flame rereading like I did, because I want the world to be completely fresh in my mind. But I will see you all next time. Bye.